This episode of the All Things Nerd Podcast, Season 3, Episode 15, we will be talking about the first actual visual black hole scene. We'll talk about Disney Plus details because they're coming out swinging. And we're going to talk about Episode 9 of Star Wars getting its title and reacting to the trailer, and then what happened on the panel at Chicago's celebration for Star Wars. So, if you guys have any thoughts about it, please drop a comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube, sit back, pull up a seat, and enjoy the show. Hello, all the Geek Enthusiasts and Nerd Aficionados. It is Mess5150 here with another All Things Nerd podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 15, Countdown to 100. We are 3 episodes away from hitting 100 episodes of the All Things Nerd podcast. If you've been here since day 1, thank you so much for still being here, because it's been a uphill battle at times. And we appreciate you guys coming along and seeing the growth that we've done. So, with that, let's talk about who's here on the show with me. You got me, Mess5150. You also have Icy Zoro with us. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm great. Right now, all I can see is a screenshot of Super Frozen. That's fun. We're getting close to 100 episodes. That's kind of incredible. That makes me think that this might be the only legacy I leave on the planet, somewhere in the interwebs.
Yeah.
Sad, right?
that is a little bit sad. Yeah, Red Meepaw and Polyfuse and Jack and Turbo Comics are all inside our chat room. We'd like to start out this cast with what everybody's been geeking out on. My geek out has still continued being Supernatural. I'm season 11 now, so I'm crushing the watch time of it. But beyond that,
Yeah, you're flying through that. Like that's faster than I did the rewatch, and I did the whole thing like a year and a half ago. And of course, Super Hoogan walked me through it, just like she's doing for you now.
yeah, I think I'm at 4.5 weeks or 5 weeks or something like that. So
I think it took me about maybe a little more than 2 months to catch up on 12 seasons.
yeah. So I'll be there. I'll be at 12. I should be at 12 by next week. I may actually be up to 14 by next week. So, yeah, have likes and dislikes and whatnot. And we had me and Super had some conversation yesterday about the hated Buck Lemmings, and
Oh, yeah.
my
the garbage that was that episode.
It's not a spoiler, it's been out for years now, but the death of Felicia Day's character was just such garbage. Happened off screen to villains we didn't really care about that much. That was poor writing.
yeah, it was definitely poor writing. There was moments that I did enjoy in the episode, but this isn't a Supernatural cast, so we won't go great detail, especially since our Supernatural fan is very frozen and can't talk very much.
Yeah.
It seems. So, oh, good Lord. But no, the big thing I've been geeking out on, I wanted to get, because I don't want to keep talking about the same stuff over and over every single week. Game of Thrones starts this Sunday, so I've been doing all the different things that are going on with Game of Thrones in terms of promotion. So I went on a hunt for the Game of Thrones Oreos, and it took me 2 days, but I found them, and I bought 4 packs of them because some other friends were looking for them and everything too. And
You're gonna age them for a couple of years.
no aging Oreos. And then the other thing I did today, which is why my brain's a little bit funky because I didn't get to like sit back and relax at all before the cast. I was going a mile a minute, and that was Shake Shack has a special Dracarius burger and a Dragon Glass shake, and so it's the fire and ice mixture.
Yeah.
So I went down there. When I say down there, I live a good hour with no traffic drive away from the place that has this, because not all the Shake Shacks have it. So I had to go all the way out to West Hollywood to get it, and traffic was really, really bad. So bad that the Waze app on the way home was like, the freeways suck. Stay on the roads. And it doesn't happen with apps too often. So
Yeah. I there's a reason I couldn't live in LA. I drive a stick shift. Never gonna happen. The names of those food items makes me think of when Burger King was doing the black bun stunt, and then a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's.
I caught up on a lot of TV shows this week. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Rookie, really good show if you haven't checked that out yet. First, being the first season, you want to do some things that really hook you in, and they've got a nice blend going with the kind of awkward dorkiness that Nathan Fillion brings to any role, but they're doing a nice job of balancing it with the serious. And the last couple episodes have just been really good. So really impressed with that, and I'm glad that it looks like it's going to get picked up for a season 2. Caught up on Legends of Tomorrow. Super excited there. I actually got to meet the actor that's playing the big bad this season in Legends, Christian Keys. He was on Supernatural, playing Michael last season, the big bad in the alternate universe.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He was at the Supernatural convention. He did the karaoke with a super cool guy playing the big bad on Legends. So that's super exciting to see him going up against Constantine. And that's what I caught up on this week.
Right on. And I've been going all old school. I decided not to do the Game of Thrones rewatch. That's a lot. But I spent almost as much time doing a full MCU rewatch. I completed it a little bit. There's no way to say this without phrasing coming up. I finished it a little early. I just couldn't stop. I loved those movies so much. I kept watching straight through them. But it was real fun watching the older ones like Iron Man 1 and 2, and you're like, wow, Robert Downey Jr. was so young, which, no, he wasn't.
He really wasn't.
He really wasn't. He just looked fresher.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and for the first time, I saw the Ed Norton Hulk, which apparently is considered MCU canon now because of the Robert Downey Jr. Post-credit scene, I guess. And they used it's the same guy playing the general later in Civil War. So yeah, I rewatched through all those. I've been reading Dune. Finally, I don't know why I never read it before. About 2/3 of the way through the book. I actually watched the movie already, but I'm about 2/3 of the way through the book, and I'm going to keep going with that. And then I have been playing super old school games. I on Steam picked up a couple of the old Sierra games. I got the whole King's Quest series. I got all the Gabriel Knights. So I'm playing through those. They take way less time now than they used to.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so a couple things in the chat room that I want to get to that people are talking about. Polyfuse asked about the Dragon Glass shake and if it tastes like the mother of dragons. And no, it was a mint chocolate shake.
How do you know?
For all we know, the mother of dragons could taste like mint chocolate. So I don't know about that. The thing about it was it had like shards of what you thought was chocolate shards, but they were actually a dark brittle.
Actual obsidian, and they cut your mouth up. Real
Exactly. No, they were dark brittle, it was not peanut brittle, but the brittle of like peanut brittle. So it was actually really good,
toffee?
Really good. Yeah, it was a toffee.
Was it toffee? Okay, yeah. Toffee.
Yeah.
And that worked with the mint chocolate, huh? Because I wouldn't think it would.
No, it actually worked really well. So a couple of other things. Turbo Comics was nerding out on WonderCon last week. All of the Alien short films. I still have not checked those out yet, so I really want to see how good they are.
Next week.
And Castlevania on Netflix. And also Polyfuse, I believe it was, started Ultraman on Netflix, which I know that just came out. So he says needs to finish. So, and everybody's loving Dune in the chat room. So that's what we've been geeking out on. Let's move on to what the show's about. The show's about the nerd news. First and foremost, the first topic that we're going to talk about is science. An actual real topic that we have no right talking about because we are not scientists and
not even close.
But
technically, one of my degrees is an associate of science.
Well, technically, I have a bachelor's of science, but you're
Nice.
definitely not going to see me debating with Neil deGrasse Tyson anytime soon.
Yeah, that would be sad.
Unless it's about where to get the best burgers. I could do that.
Exactly.
It's the fat kid in all of us coming out going, come, this is where you go. Okay. Yeah, no, what we're the real science subject that we're here to talk about. We got the first actual visual look at a black hole, a real black hole. It's not just an interpretation that has been put together. Scientists actually got their first full look.
It felt really weird to me. It feels like we've all seen a black hole before,
I know.
Movies we've
I
seen.
never realized that we hadn't. Like, everyone's geeking out on Facebook over this, and my brain is just going, "What's so special?" Like
they need to up the resolution a little.
Yeah, to me, it looks like everyone is saying that Supernatural. It's the Eye of Jack. They've taken it. It looks exactly like the intro to season 14.
I was gonna say a very, very fuzzy Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, very fuzzy Eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did not realize that this was the first time we'd actually seen a black hole. So.
Yeah, we've seen, like I said, interpretations of them many a times. In fact, I see. Talk about some of the stuff that it took to, because I'm looking up some stuff here for
yeah. So it took forever apparently to put this picture together. They originally took the pictures over a series of like 5 days back in 2017, and it's 54 light years away. They had to use a series of telescopes around the world relaying off so they could continue to watch it over that time, and it had to be like perfect weather the whole time. It couldn't be too humid, or they would have a more blurry image. And then there was so much data. The one image that we got put together after all that time is about 5 petabytes of data. There was so much that it would have taken them several. They said it was the equivalent of 35,000 years worth of MP3 data. So in order to transfer that data, because they couldn't do it online, they had to put it on hard drives and fly it around. 1,000 pounds of hard drives is the quickest way to move that data.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
And let me switch over
Apparently,
on
according
this.
to Red Meepaw, the flat earthers said it was all just CGI. It's all fake.
If it was CGI, it would be a better picture.
Exactly.
Yeah, that should be. Hopefully, you guys see it. There's your picture. My camera didn't just go out of focus. That's the actual.
Yeah.
But that's what they mean by the first actual.
In the blurry shot that Facebook was free.
Well, that was their whole thing
really
about.
Does look like the ISO.
Yeah, it does look like ISO.
For something that's 54 light years away, good picture.
Yeah. And that was what they meant by the first visual of the black hole, was they actually saw the blackness, the void of that was, being sucked out. So, yeah,
you can see the event horizon. That's pretty rad.
That was the big thing. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about it a little bit before the cast, and you were saying your favorite stat about the whole thing was its equivalent size. Like, that would be the size of that thing with those telescopes is like trying to find a donut on the moon with the naked eye.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just
totally works.
I mean, and the factor that all these 8 telescopes have to be in perfect weather to get it. So they, it's not just an easy. They have to check humidity levels because otherwise they get a bad shot. It took.
I've got a question. Are we not using Hubble anymore?
I thought we were, but maybe I'm wrong.
You would think that would be. I don't know if it's in low Earth orbit, if it's geosynchronous, and they couldn't use it for that reason. But it seems like something that's outside of the atmosphere would get a way better picture, way easier.
Yeah, Polyfuse says the pale blue dot picture taken from Voyager 1 is more impressive.
Well, I did see a bigger field. Like, that's that picture of the black hole. That is one tiny portion of the overall image that they put together. Yeah. It's it looks like one of those pictures you see of really intricate nebulas and stuff like that. It's just that in that portion of that picture, we got a black hole.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool that their plan for this going forward is to actually get like a scrapbook of black holes. Because that's actually what they said.
They're gonna go scrapbooking.
Um,
This is my Etsy black hole shop.
yeah, so what they said is this image is just the beginning. They want to pivot their telescopes toward other black holes to amass a whole
No.
scrapbook of black hole images.
Sorry. Now I'm picturing Ross on one end of the telescope, just yelling, "Pivot!"
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so they want to pivot the telescope to other black holes to amass a whole scrapbook of black hole images, and they also plan to take more better quality pictures. Good on ya! That's a great idea. Let's get better quality pictures on.
And Turbo Comics says that the Hubble is not really being maintained or really used all that much.
Oh, okay.
That got put up what, mid '80s? It's probably pretty well worn at this point. I saw a sad meme about it. I don't want to bring it down, but if Stephen Hawking had lived one more year, he would have seen it.
Oh, that is sad. That's
right.
Oh, that is sad. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Man.
The last.
But vindication.
He'll see it from his afterlife, I guess.
I guess that's better. I guess that's better than saying if he would have lived one more year, he would have seen the end of Big Bang Theory.
Jeez. Poor guy. At least he knew it was coming.
Equally large accomplishment getting that thing off TV.
That show, Modern Family, I mean, these little sitcoms, man. Did anyone expect it to run that long? What is Big Bang Theory in?
It's on season 12. Modern Family's on 10.
Yeah, and Modern Family gets one more. They're ending after next year too. So these little sitcoms, I mean, they're just, I don't know. They just keep ticking,
Polyfuse in the chat says, "Does NASA pay for their weed while they're looking for these black holes?"
According to who's the astronaut that sang Major Tom in space, there's also a picture of him floating with a large bag of weed.
Yeah, it's medicinal. It gets covered by their health insurance.
It's called experimentation, actual peer-reviewed experimentation, rather than just sitting in your mom's basement.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to say, it actually came out today. The black hole itself, I know we're just sitting staring at. I see. This is where I cut things out so that you're not just staring at one person staring at a screen. The black hole itself has a name, and Game of Thrones.
I didn't catch that. What's the name?
It's got a name
Powehi.
now. Yeah, Powehi is the name. A black hole has a name.
Yeah, not the area in San Diego.
No, not that. It's spelled Powehi. It's the Hawaiian phrase referring to an embellished dark source of unending creation. So,
fairly accurate.
It's fairly accurate, but I wouldn't say a black hole's unending creation.
We don't know what's on the other side of that breach. Man.
We don't.
In some movies.
Yeah, yeah. It could just be a traveling to another dimension of space.
Yeah, it's Sam Neill. It's
another dimension. Maybe it's a dimension where they juggle shrimp for a living. Maybe it's a dimension where everyone's a hamster and the humans are kept in cages. We don't know.
Maybe it's Reclantis.
Polyfuse to follow up with his comment about if NASA was on the weed while looking at black holes. His response was, "You ever looked at a black hole? You ever looked at a black hole on weed?"
Weed.
And
Nice.
then Red says the gateway, if we try to cross through it, will spaghettify us. So there's your new word for the day that you learned here, spaghettify.
Hashtag spaghettify.
Hashtag spaghettify.
Black hole spaghettify. That's a hashtag of a week.
Hashtag now I really want some spaghetti.
Okay.
I just think you get to meet what's his name, the guy from Jurassic Park on the other side, and there's dead bodies and stuff everywhere, but
Which Jurassic Park, the good one or the bad one?
Sam Neill.
Oh, Sam Neill,
Sam
because
Neill.
of the other movie, because of the
Event
Horizon.
yes.
God, that movie was terrifying.
I mean that does tie in on the factor that that's the name of the telescopes.
That's true.
It's the Event Horizon telescope for the 8 of them.
Telescope.
So
yeah, that's the first movie I ever watched.
You know what? I wonder.
It was terrifying.
I wonder if they thought of that name because they're like, well, with 8 telescopes, if we're able to find a black hole, maybe we can find the gateway to hell. Hey, what was that movie? What was
Well,
that
then it would
movie
be
where they
the
went to the
Ninth Ring
gateway of hell?
Yeah, that would be the Ninth Ring Project.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Event Horizon was the ship went to hell and then
Yep.
showed back up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That movie was terrifying. I'm not gonna lie.
Seriously, it's a scary ass movie.
Good though, very good.
Yeah, I do love that movie. But yeah. Let's see the other major subject before we get onto the big one that happened today. Disney Plus. Disney Plus came out swinging big time.
Yes, they did.
We knew that they were going to be competing with Netflix and Hulu and DC and CBS, but we didn't know to what effect. They said that they were going to be less expensive than what you would think they would be. And they came in announcing what their pricing will be when they actually go live in November of this year. And $6.99 a month, or at an even reduced price, you can do $69.99 for the year, which is one.
If you can do
sounds
that up
astounding.
front, do that.
Yeah, it sounds astounding for the fact that Disney's got the money, that capital, that they don't need the big price tag on it. But when this was announced, even the people in the audience, because this was at a shareholders meeting, they were shocked at the pricing that was being announced. So
yeah, I was not expecting it to be. I figured it was going to be around $20 a month. Yeah, I know they said that they were going to go lower than Netflix, but I honestly expected like $19.99 a month.
And there is a reason that it's low right now, and that's why I'm saying if you get a chance to pay $70 for the year up front, I say do it now, because I think that's going to raise relatively soon. The amount of content that they have right now is not that huge. It's all the Disney stuff, which is 500 films from the Disney library, 7,000 episodes of Disney TV.
That's a lot.
But so it's still a lot of stuff. As of 2016, before Netflix got into their hey, let's create all the time phase, Netflix at that point had nearly 4,500 movies and 1,200 different series of TV shows. So right now, Disney's starting off at a fraction of what Netflix was 3 years ago. But yeah, makes sense. They're only going to grow from here.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to regress. They're only going to progress. So
well, especially if you consider a lot of the stuff that got taken out of Netflix is going to Disney, because Disney owns it now. They're going to control all the content. Who controls the spice controls the universe.
So now that basic Hulu is free for Spotify premium listeners, that was a really good deal for Spotify and Hulu to team up. I thought that was kind of a cool thing. But no, this is where I wanted to break down, because CNN did a live, play-by-play from the investor meeting of what was going on and what they were announcing. So I'm going to go over here and tell you some of the things that are coming with this $6.99 price tag. Like you said, there's a lot of titles coming, but what exactly are the titles and everything? So, here we go. So here are all the shows that will be on Disney Plus. You have your live action series, which High School Musical we knew about, Mandalorian we knew about, Diary of a Female President, I have no idea what that is. They announced...
it's not hard to infer, but...
Yeah. They announced Monsters at Work, which is your Monsters Inc. show, I believe. Star Wars Clone Wars. So that left Netflix going over there. Marvel's What If, and I'll get into more detail of what that is, because that sounds awesome. Then on top of that, you've got your documentaries, your unscripted series, and your live specials. So Encore, I have no idea what that is, but I like this one. They have an untitled Walt Disney Imagineering documentary series, and I love what Imagineers do, and watching how they come up with the stuff that they come up with. Marvel's Hero Project, The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Okay, Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, I want that. I want that right now.
That's worth that. Yeah, that's worth the $6.99 a month alone. Yeah, just Jeff Goldblum telling me about the world.
I know a couple years ago, everybody's saying if I could have Morgan Freeman narrate my life, that'd be amazing. No, I want Jeff Goldblum doing it. You got a hot dog there.
Okay. the rest of the stuff. Let's see.
Well, so they're talking a little bit, well, you're talking about all the shows that are going to be coming out, and it's in my head, I'm slotting them in categories, and they're doing that too. Because
I'm not even done. Hold on.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We got BR Chef, which is probably a Disney food one. Cinema Relics, iconic art of the movies. That sounds cool. Into the Unknown, Making Frozen 2, Magic of Animal Kingdom, Marvel's 616, which is the original universe of Marvel, is 616. So it's a documentary about Marvel, I'm assuming. Reconnect, Rogue Trip, Shop Class, Earthkeepers, Ink and Paint. So this is just their documentary series and originals in that. Then you have your original films, Lady and the Tramp, not going to theaters, coming there. So live action Lady and the Tramp, I'm assuming. Noelle, a Phineas and Ferb movie, and Stargirl. So that's what they've announced so far, just for all the new stuff coming over there.
Stargirl sounds like Star-Lord's little sister.
Well, yeah.
And I would watch them.
And okay, what were you going to say then after?
Well, yeah, so, hearing all those titles, I'm slotting them into categories in my head, and they're doing it too, because if you're wondering what the UI is going to look like, it's essentially going to be the same as a Netflix UI, except at the top of it, you've got 5 buttons for each of the different main categories: Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic.
Not only do they have all those new series coming along, the first thing having to happen with the Fox-Disney merger is also being brought over to Disney Plus, and that's Simpsons. All seasons of Simpsons are going to be on Disney Plus. It is going to be exclusively for Disney Plus. So they
really,
yeah, they're pulling it already.
All you really need is like 6 through 8.
I agree, but still, I mean, I loved that in their announcement for it, they had a photo of the Simpsons family standing on its lawn, and it said Synergy in a big banner, and the balloons above their head no longer said Fox on them. They were taped over, and Bob Iger was standing there, and there was a statue of Darth Vader, and they're all wearing Mickey Mouse hats. And I believe the president of Fox, the old president of Fox, was in the trash can, like a little mantle of him. So yeah, they
I mean, he deserves to be in a trash can. Let's face it,
and that's just for canceling Firefly.
Firefly and Almost Human, dude.
Oh yeah.
I just
and Intelligence.
So now to get into some of the other stuff that Disney was also doing with this. So we talked about how much it'll cost. So Mandalorian is going to be their flagship. So they know what to bring to get people to sign up right from the get-go. Mandalorian is going to be available on day number 1. So it's going to be their original series that will be available the very first day. They're bringing the Jon Favreau Star Wars series with Oscar Pascal, I think is the actor's name. Pedro Pascal. That's the main character in it.
Yeah.
And it's an 8-episode series. So right now they're just doing the finishing touches on it. Just 8 episodes. They said from what they've seen so far of it, it is the sizzle reel is what Star Wars has always looked like: adventurous, dark, and set in a galaxy far, far away. So the other thing, here's the big one. They have the original Star Wars trilogy as well as the prequels coming over. They did not own those before. It was still owned by Time Warner. So Disney paid a lot of money out of nowhere somewhere to get those. We don't know how much.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
they wanted to make sure they had it. They
want to own all of the good stuff. Like they're creating them, and it's amazing. It's the takeover of all the media in the world.
Ruru2 joins us in the chat room with Simpsons goes to Comic-Con and gets kidnapped by Disney.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the details on the Marvel shows. We've already known about them, some of them already coming, but they gave us a little bit of detail. Not a lot, because they don't want to give any spoilers away of anything. The WandaVision show, the series will star Vision and Scarlet Witch. Feige didn't explain what the show was about, but showed concept art of Vision and Scarlet dressed in black and white like the family from Leave It to Beaver.
Okay, that's weird.
I would have liked if they had them do like American Gothic, because it's about the right height differential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave It to Beaver?
That's
He's
like
a deceiver.
just black and white coloring, I think, and them standing there
Interesting.
wholesome. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I'm just glad Paul Bettany's getting work. I love that guy.
Exactly. The other, so Falcon and Winter Soldier. This will showcase two heroes who started as enemies and became friends. Feige said the series will be a deeper dive where fans will learn about these heroes. So
Are these going to be like ongoing series, or are they going to be short run, like miniseries kind of things?
Just to draw you in and
Because
get
it's
you hooked on.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting all series about all the minor Avengers.
Which might not be a bad thing. Instead of having all these big budget movies made about them, let's dive in and give them.
Well, you can get the event.
Runs.
I mean, the WandaVision one. There's gaps of their relationship, even before the snap.
Yeah.
And the Winter Soldier, Falcon. Maybe it's other adventures or other missions they did prior to stuff. That's what I'm thinking.
To me, it felt too much like they're saying, "Look, you guys know they're all coming back to life." Because it just doesn't. It seems like there wouldn't be. I mean, yes, you can find some stories here and there, but not for any kind of long-running thing. So, again, if they're doing limited series of each of those, sure. But if not, it's basically like they're saying, "Yeah, we're going to undo the snap. I know we're keeping the plot super close, but we're undoing the snap."
Yeah, Turbo Comics says, "Gotta say the Marvel shows sound falling asleep to me." Do like Paul Bettany though. It read me like Paul Bettany in Priest, even though Priest was kind of violent. So
I do like Paul Bettany. He's a really good actor. I'm excited to see his work. I love Scarlet Witch. I've been clamoring for Scarlet Witch anything, movie, TV series.
Yeah.
And
Jack Malice said he's going to snap. I think he's going to get rid of half the cast.
Which one of us is getting split in two?
Yeah, exactly.
No idea.
Okay.
Here's what I want for Paul Bettany in the MCU. I want Russell Crowe to join as a character in the MCU, and Vision comes back to life just to mess with his head. Beautiful mind.
That would be funny. That would be really funny.
Yeah. That would be okay. Okay. Other details that were released. The minor bit of details. Loki series will star Tom Hiddleston as Thor's brother. Big surprise. Loki. Feige didn't say much about it other than it'll have Loki's trademark mischief. So yeah, but this was the coolest
one. That one I'm assuming is going to be a limited run. I don't see Tom Hiddleston signing on for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons of a Loki show.
No, it's Jim Carrey reprising The Mask.
That would be funny. That would be hilarious. I love that movie still to this day. It's one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
just don't watch that terrible sequel that didn't have Jim Carrey in it, The Son of the Mask. Oh God!
In my mind, the sequel doesn't even exist until you brought it up right now. I legit forgot that sequel didn't exist. It doesn't exist.
It never happened.
Yeah,
never happened.
It's a movie. It's a movie for IC to watch. He loves those bad movies.
Oh, isn't it?
You're like, no.
Yeah, damn it! Now I have to put that on the list.
This is the one that nobody knew about that I'm really glad that they're doing. So they're doing What If. And if you remember the old What If Marvel comics where it was like, what if this happened? And it was changing the way that the universe would be affected in the Marvel universe if something happened. So what they'll be doing is an animated series that will wonder what life would be like if things went a different way. So Feige said the first episode will be what would have happened if Steve Rogers never became Captain America. So, and it's animated, so they can just continue going with these. And I loved the old What If comics back in the 80s and 90s. So,
see, my mind goes to the Randall Munroe, who draws XKCD, former NASA astrophysicist, who takes really bizarre questions about what if 1,000 pounds of ice cream hit the Earth at 35 miles an hour? And he just takes it from the actual numbers. I think that would be real fun to animate as well. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see different stuff in the Marvel universe too.
Well, what would be a what if you would want to see?
Who, me or IC?
Yeah, just in general. I see you, the chat room, like.
I don't. The what ifs can. They're so they're so wild. I mean, there was one What If that was a great story. I think it was What If Bruce hadn't jumped in front of the gamma bomb, and it ended up being
Right.
that the kid that he saved became the Hulk instead, and it caused a whole different dynamic. It's a really
Timeline.
yeah, it's a really cool
What if-
concept. I'm glad that they're diving into it with the series.
What if Thanos had decided to double all the resources in the universe rather than killing half of everyone?
Yeah.
Would he just have to do
What
it again in 30 years?
Yeah. Why didn't he do that?
What if Thanos needed a clapper instead of the Infinity Gauntlet?
You know? I mean,
The clapper.
yeah, like what if Tony Stark never gets kidnapped and put in that cave and has to build
Yeah.
the Iron Man suit
That's the
to get
thing.
out?
That was what the whole concept of that series was. It had a lot of that type of stuff, and what if Spider-Man actually saved Gwen Stacy and never had
Yeah.
ended up getting married to Mary Jane, and so it's a cool concept. I'm really glad they're making an animated series about it. We also want to welcome a bearded master into the chat room, where he says, talking about the Mask sequel, what y'all don't like Jamie Kennedy, and
Legit
Polyfuse
forgot
says,
Jamie Kennedy was in that.
yep, that's
Polyfuse says, so what, Disney's remaking 50s and 60s TV shows with superheroes? I Dream of Loki would be fantastic.
Yes. Turbo Comics says we need a Moon Knight show, a Darkhawk show, which who knows, we might get stuff now that they can expand even more. And
Yeah,
6
and apparently
episodes.
the Loki show's could be 6, yeah.
6 episodes on Loki. 6 episodes of Loki falling for 45 minutes.
And you know what? I'd
Instead of
probably
Bewitched,
still
it's
watch it.
Bethanos.
Yeah. I would probably still watch it. I love Tom Hiddleston. I'll watch anything that has Tom Hiddleston. I still love the series The Night Manager. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah. They are bringing 18 Pixar films at launch date.
Like new Pixar films, or
No.
Okay.
No, that's like all the Pixar films,
Yeah,
isn't it?
18 Pixar films will be available on the service when it launches, including their shorts like Academy Award-winning Bao will be there, which I haven't gotten to see yet. There'll also be 2 new Toy Story character shorts, The Forky Asks a Question and Lamp Life. And along with that, animated classics. So we knew there was going to bring a bunch of Disney stuff, but big animated classics. There are going to be 13 signature collection films there that are going to include Bambi, The Jungle Book, Snow White, Aladdin, all on day one.
Yes, Golden Age.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
and they also showed the interface for it, so that the interface is just like Netflix, just like Hulu. So it's going to be easy to use, and that's the best thing with it.
All for
Well, you have
low
to.
price.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
dig it.
With the easy, familiar interface. If somebody goes to a movie site, a streaming site, and it's a weird interface, they're just going to stop.
Yeah, exactly. CW Seed, I'm looking at you.
So, like I said, came out swinging. I demand a Flight of the Navigator sequel, says Turbo Comics. I agree with you.
Me
on that.
too.
That would be.
Me too.
Yes. That was in talks for a while back, but I never happened. So
Reboot that.
there you go. They're rebooting
Don't
everything
make
else.
a prequel. Bring me Flight of the Navigator 2.
And then I don't know if this is a Disney property. It probably is at this point with how much stuff they've bought. But I want the Starfighter After Last.
Yeah.
We thought. Excuse me. Sorry. We thought he was the last Starfighter.
Yeah, next Starfighter.
Starfighter Reborn. Yeah. That's definitely not Disney.
Starfighter 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. And then Captain Marvel will be there on launch date as well, so that's not going to Netflix whatsoever. But yeah, they really laid the gauntlet down and basically said, "Hey Netflix, we're coming for you."
They did one more thing with the UI that is maybe the best idea I've heard from one of these. All the content is not just streamable, it's downloadable. I don't know if there's going to be a time limit on it, but you can pick the shows that you want to download from Disney Plus onto your computer for later use.
Huh.
Well,
I would think that there would
has
be
that
a
already
time
on their
limit.
original content. On their original content, Netflix lets you download all their original content so that you can watch it later.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to
Didn't
find
know
that
that
button now.
either. But I would think that there would be some kind of time limit. Otherwise, there's no incentive for you to keep your membership.
Well, there is an incentive
Yeah.
because it's still going to require you to be a member for you to watch.
Yeah, you probably have to have that license on your computer.
It's the same thing as if
Gotcha.
I have PlayStation
Gotcha.
Plus, right? PlayStation Plus is a
Yeah.
yearly subscription that gives you free games every month. Those games are free as long as you have PlayStation Plus, but the second that you stop your subscription, the games lock. They won't let it be playable anymore. So, but yeah, let's talk about the last bit. The last bit of news that happened today, and we've been waiting for it, and it was the first day of Star Wars Celebration out in Chicago, and the very first panel that they had of the day, bright and early in the morning, was the Episode 9 panel, and we got the trailer, the teaser trailer, and we got the title. The title is Rise of Skywalker.
Disappointing.
Disappointing. Well,
really? The Rise of Skywalker? Come on.
But it still questions. Does that mean Rise of
It
Skywalker?
sounds dumb.
Does it mean Rise?
Does that mean his spirit rose? Does that mean, there's another Skywalker out there? Does it mean that,
She's gonna adopt a child and name him Skywalker, and we're gonna watch her raise him?
exactly? There's so many questions.
It could be. It could be
We don't
Kylo.
know.
Kylo is a Skywalker blood, and he
That's
could
true.
be turning.
It could be that the Skywalker blood is taking over the, whatever darkness is inside of him, and he becomes, good.
I think you
Just don't
have
know.
to. If they're following, I mean, yeah, the good guy has to be redeemed by the end, right?
Well,
the bad-
That's how most
generally,
stories go.
yeah, that's usually how the story goes. But, or the villain has to fall. But yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, but apparently he's not dead either.
we don't know, but that's okay. I mean, I wouldn't put Kylo into the bad guy. He just misunderstood and got, tainted. So that's
Yeah, that's like saying that that Anakin wasn't a bad guy after he killed all the younglings. He was just real confused.
Well,
hey,
I think
it's
he has a chance to be redeemed, I think, is what Mest, is going for. Because has he done bad things? Of course, but I think the whole point of the movie is anyone can be redeemed if they want it, I guess.
Yeah, that's always been the point.
Hopefully.
But yeah, we don't know who the Rise of Skywalker is. This is the end of the Skywalker saga. So, I mean, by the end, it'll be known. So
It'll be known. I don't think it's Rey though. I don't think.
I really hope that it doesn't end up being that way. That after, like, hey, we fooled you, and
Haha.
Which
Yeah.
felt that felt super disingenuous in episode 8 when they're like, hey, you're nobody. And,
Yeah, you're nobody. You're
but
super
that's-
powerful in the Force, but
but
you're
that's
nobody.
coming from Kylo Ren, who clearly doesn't have a motive to lie to you if you're actually a Skywalker. Of course,
Right.
it's entirely possible that he was lying. It's like
Right,
Ryan,
exactly.
Johnson's like, hey JJ, you know that storyline you're setting up? Watch this.
yeah, he just threw everything
Yeah.
out. So Red Meatball says philosophically, the dark and the light must come together to save the Force. Yes, the great Jedi, and that's why Yoda says
Well,
it's
and she
time.
follows that with ugh.
And that's why. But the Great Jedi is a big portion of the non-canon anymore. But it is a big portion. That's why Yoda says it's time for the Jedi to die and Luke with it. And there's not enough popcorn in the universe to make this exciting. They need lighting. The problem is, I liked Force Awakens in the factor of what they were setting up, and it was JJ's little love story to the film, because it was just like, hey, let's repeat some of the things that happened. And then Ryan Johnson took what JJ did and he said, let's throw this away. And create some new
pretty
stuff.
much.
And
Yeah.
now JJ's back, and we got a teaser trailer. And as we always start with the teaser trailer, Super, what happened to the trailer? Anything exciting?
Yes.
You want to explain
This
it?
one should be easy.
No, nothing. I mean, unless you count that super creepy laugh at the end as exciting. I didn't think anything big happened in the trailer, but I like that. I mean, you get Rey. She's clearly out work. I don't know, what is she doing? Is she work? She's running. She's running from a ship, and I want to know how she force jumped over that ship in the trailer. Like, I don't
think
know. That was crazy.
I've been on live for one of these, and this is fascinating.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said I think this is the first time I've been on live for Super describing the trailer. I'm loving it right
But
now.
she force jumped. I mean, we've never seen that before in the Star Wars verse. We've never seen anyone use the Force to jump over a ship, have we?
Not to
We
jump over a
we've
ship,
seen
but force jumps.
we've seen them jump around inside ships.
There's a lot of force jumping in the universe where it shows them jump like
Yoda could essentially fly.
Yeah.
Yoda could fly. It was really cool though. So clearly she's out. I couldn't tell what planet they were on. Could you guys tell what planet they were on?
Some desert somewhere.
Yeah, it's not supposed to. It's not
desert?
necessarily.
Do you think it was Tatooine? It wasn't Tatooine, was it?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. So, key points from the trailer. Things that I caught, that I found, that I watched it when they first aired it, and then when the actor that plays Palpatine came out on stage at the panel and said, "Roll it again," and then they played it a second time. JJ gets me.
Yeah.
JJ gets me every single time with his trailers. I was sitting in the audience for Celebration when we got Force Awakens, and I started tearing up. I don't cry at trailers, and I teared up at that one. It happened on this one again. The second trailer actually made me start tearing up. I wasn't crying. It's just like it was welling. I couldn't help it. Emotion. He knows how to work the music. He knows how to. The guy knows how to get the Star Wars fan.
That first trailer where you see the Han saying, "Chewie, we're home." I was like, "Oh God!"
I know. I was like, "Oh, I don't know where you're at, but yeah."
And HJZ Grok, who we know who that is, but welcome. She's in there and says it was a beautiful jump.
It was a beautiful jump. Thank you. And the music got me too. The music was amazing in the trailer. Very emotional.
Mest, I'm sure you have some of the lines from the voiceover that Luke's doing while she's waiting to face the ship.
Was that Luke? I didn't have it written down. I didn't know who
it was. Luke.
It sounded like Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Okay. I'm always bad with that, with trying to figure out who it is. But she does the force jump. The force jump that I saw, that is, from my understanding, that is Kylo's TIE fighter. Kylo's TIE fighter has the red ring around the window, and that's what that TIE fitter had. Yeah. So I'm assuming that's her, fighting against his. Other key moments.
So we're not shipping them then?
Who knows? Other key moments in the trailer that really got me. One, seeing Lando flying the Millennium Falcon again was fantastic.
Yes.
That is so. I love it. I love it. I love that Billy D's back. I love that the first picture we saw of him, I think he's wearing the exact same outfit that Lando wore in Solo. So I think it's hilarious that Billy D. Yeah. I want to see a scene where he's like, "I still fit in it. I could still get."
Yeah.
Well, now I want to see a music video with him and Donald Glover dressed exactly the same and dancing next to each other with exactly the same moves.
That would be hilarious. Somebody make that happen.
Yeah, I want Donald Glover to make that happen.
The last key moment for me was the laugh at the end, which I swear is Palpatine, and that's what it sounded like.
It's absolutely. It's Ian McDiarmid. Absolutely.
It sounded like it, and then they showed him on stage right after it as well. So that's, but that.
Wait, he was on stage too?
You mean at the panel, right? Or you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not in the trailer.
No. He came out on stage at the panel right after the trailer and said to roll it again in the Palpatine voice. Nice. So that's what, okay, this solidified it. It's got to be. So that just goes back to the old stories of Palpatine was cloning himself, and that makes it that Snoke was not the master. He was the apprentice of Palpatine, and Palpatine. If this all plays out, that means Palpatine has been doing what he's always done in all of the films, because now it'll be all three trilogies. He was the puppet master. He was orchestrating everything. So
what's the story?
What is the final payoff, I guess you could say, that Palpatine's going for? Is it to rule the galaxy?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Remember the story he told in the prequel? I think it was episode 3. About the original Sith who learned how to cheat death. Maybe he's that guy.
Maybe he is that guy.
Maybe it is always just 2, and the leader's always him.
That would be crazy too. That would be, I think, a little more unique than just he was a clone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's where we're getting some of the comments in the chat room about the thoughts. Polyfuse says Rey's either Palpatine or a Kenobi. that's what he thinks.
Her being a Palpatine would be a nice
No,
switch.
Turbo Darth Sidious is Palpatine.
Yeah, and Red Meepaw Studio didn't buy the music type of the original. They wanted disco. Thank God they didn't go that way.
Except briefly in the Star Wars Christmas special. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then HJ wants to know, can you clone the Jedi gift?
Well, if it's midichlorians, then yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if it's not...
But if it's not, then no.
But I mean, they cloned... Yeah, I mean, before, when it was canon still at the time, Palpatine cloned himself with the same powers. So yeah, I guess you can. So that's a good question though.
That is a good question.
Some of the
question.
Polyfuse says Snoke was a puppet, which is what I said, and Turbo Comics says Darth Sidious. Yes.
Yeah,
So-
I'm saying Darth Sidious was Palpatine. What I'm trying to remember, there was the Darth something that he said was like, the original Sith. It wasn't Sidious, it was something else.
Yeah, I remember.
Go back and
Yeah,
watch
but he was
the
to live. He could make himself live forever. Yeah. So, but no, his final goal was to get rid of the Jedi altogether, and to rule, and and that's what he's done so far. If this is him being the puppet master, yes, he got rid of the Jedi now, but now he's got one final person to sway. So, yeah. But I love the trailer. I loved it. I'm so glad
thought it was
JJ's back
great.
on board. The problems I had with the panel was fantastic. Stephen Colbert hosted the panel, which was great watching him host. They showed us a new droid, which is called Dio.
When are we going to have Colbert on, by the way? Because he's like as big a nerd as us.
Oh God, he's bigger.
He is.
He's bigger because
Have
he
you
told a
seen
story. He told a story about how he has been a Star Wars fan 3 weeks longer than anybody else. Because back when he was a kid, 3 weeks before...
George Lucas gave him a very special present.
No. So 3 weeks before, go watch the panel. He'll probably describe it a lot better because he lived it. But 3 weeks before the panel, this AM radio station had tickets for this film, and he called in, and he was caller number 9. So him and 3 other people got to go, and there was these big blue tickets that said Star Wars. Nobody knew what it was. Nobody knew what it was about or anything. And so he got these tickets. Him, 2 of his friends, and one of his friends' moms, because he needed someone to drive, is what he said, went down there to the theater. He gave them the tickets, and he asked if they could keep the tickets because they had the Death Star with the X-Wing flying on it, and he's like, it just seemed like it was something special. He just didn't realize. And they went and watched it, and he said as soon as the title crawl came up with the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away,
Episode 4.
Everything
absolutely.
changed. They realized, this was a new spin on science fiction where it was talking about the future while being in the past, and then the music came up and everybody just started cheering, and he's like, he what he said was it was really hard for him because the next day at school he was trying to explain to everybody why the world had changed now.
Oh God! Imagine trying to explain how awesome Star Wars is to a world that doesn't know Star Wars.
Exactly. So he's like, so I've been a fan 3 weeks longer than any other Star Wars fan. So it was a cool story.
You should go watch him if you can. Google, his Lord of the Rings. Whenever he uses Lord of the Rings and debates and to win debates, and
he knows more Lord of the Rings trivia than Tolkien did.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He really does. And he won a trial. He didn't win a trial, but he did a thing on his show where somebody was being sued or like thrown in jail or something like that for using an image of Lord of the Rings incorrectly. And he did this whole 15-minute thing on how the guy was not in the wrong using all Lord of the Rings knowledge. It was amazing. And
it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson calling out how the constellations were incorrect on Titanic. It's like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Turbo Comics brings up the one that you were the Darth
Plagueis.
Yes. So
Yes. Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's who everybody thought Snoke was at first. Like they're like, watch, the spin's gonna be that's who he is. A couple things that happened in the panel though, like I was saying, that was a little weird, a little odd. One, the talking about how Rian Johnson just threw out everything JJ had been setting up and getting prepared with Force Awakens. They brought up Captain Phasma, and
what a waste of a character.
Exactly. John Boyega, what John Boyega said is, she's gone. She's dead. She's gone. She's gone. You know, and it was like, he just put a final conclusion that, like, there is no more Captain Phasma. She's gone. She's, you know, abruptly.
She died.
They were being really coy about stuff, but he was straight up on this one. And I was like, that was just a waste. That just, like, I really want to know what JJ had planned with creating that character. And because I can't assume that she was just going to have a couple lines and die, you know. Maybe they wanted her to be the next Boba Fett, but it's not.
It's like if they had given a huge build up in the original Raiders to the guy that gets shot by Indy with the sword. Like, oh, there's something coming here. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Crap.
Well, to get someone like Gwendolyn Christie in that role, you assume that she's going to have a bigger part. I had thought that she was going to be squaring off more with John going into the third one. She was going to be that wrench, you know, the foil or whatever.
Or that we'd at least see her face at some point.
Yeah. And nothing. She just gets her butt kicked in the second movie, and it's like, boom,
and
done.
Then doesn't the floor fall out from under her and she's dead?
Yeah.
And she's just gone.
She like just falls down and dies.
Yeah, it was a very sad way of doing it. It was pitiful. The other thing that really
Felicia Day dying off screen of Star Wars.
About that scene. Yeah, there was nothing about that scene that worked for me, because if you remember, it's like they're all there, they're about to be executed, and then all of a sudden, I think it's BB-8 blows everything up, and then like all of a sudden they're marching in from the other room. It's like, how did that happen? You were literally standing right next to these two people that are still on the floor, and now you're marching in with a whole contingent of soldiers from another room. Like, how did that happen?
I'm pretty sure Buck Lemmings wrote that scene.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They did. If it wasn't them, they were channeling it hard to whoever wrote that scene, because it was garbage.
All right. The other thing that was very odd and weird was what they were explaining, because they were asking if everybody on the panel ends up with somebody, ends up with each other or somebody. And like they were
because
really,
the relationships are the most important part.
Yeah, they really, and what it came down to eventually was that like everybody wants to be with Finn. That the way they explained it was like there's going to be this weird love quadrangle of Finn and Rose and Finn and Poe and Finn and
I'm surprised everybody doesn't want to be with Poe.
I want to be with Poe.
Oscar Isaac's friggin' hot.
But I know. That's the only thing that bugged me with it was like, I don't need another weird love triangle in a series to just push that into there, especially something that's never been there before. It just.
At least they're throwing a new shape at you with the 4 instead of the 3.
Oh God, I'm getting no. We watched The Walking Dead. We've had a quadrangle going on like crazy right now in The Walking Dead. I don't need it in another series. It's just odd. It's weird, and it is trying to force tension that shouldn't be there. 100%.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be there, because that's not what Star Wars is about. It's not about the love triangles. It's not about.
Well, if you remember in the original trilogy, there was kind of a love triangle for a little bit.
Yeah. But that never.
That was his sister.
But they were all still.
That felt. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
It just doesn't feel natural to me what they're doing in these with the love stories. The friendship with Rey and Finn, it felt natural. It felt good. Nothing felt forced about that at all. The chemistry was there. Finn and Rose. Not quite the same. Kind of felt a little bit like they were, it was
that felt shoehorned. That felt forced. Shoehorned.
I personally don't see Finn and Poe at all. That's just me. It wasn't something I saw. I know a lot of people online are pushing for it. They really want that.
That's the one that they were really, and that was something that bothered me a little bit too with the panel. Was I have no problem with Finn and Poe ending up together. I have no problem with getting the first homosexual couple on Star Wars. Awesome.
It doesn't bother me at all.
They were really pushing it on stage. Like they kept just like, oh, what about Finn and Poe? Don't forget about Finn and Poe. And I really think Finn and Poe are really, they were really like pushing at it, and I was like, okay,
That would be an adorable couple.
I would love it. It'd be a great couple. So it was really weird to focus on one and really push that one as opposed to like all the other potentials and stuff like that. So it was just weird on stage. But yeah, that was the really shining moment, the great moment. The one that I absolutely loved was when Mary Tran was introduced on stage. The crowd went absolutely nuts for her. Everybody started chanting her name. The people on the panel were screaming super loud for her just because of all the terrible trash she took from trolls and everything. That I'm just glad that it shows that people still care about, the person, not the terrible.
No, that warmed my dark little heart for a little bit there.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that, and she just watching her blush over it to see that her get the loudest amount of applause was so awesome.
Now, I mean, they're 20 years too late because the kid that played Anakin's already, I think, killed himself or something, and maybe just working an office job now. But yeah, we learned the lesson about respecting the actors apart from the characters a little too late. Rutu says, do some interspecies relationships like Star Trek had for 40 plus years. If you don't think there's half human babies out there, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, you got to think what was Jabba doing with that Twi'lek when there was chained up?
I don't want to know. We really don't want to know. But that Twilight has seen some things, and she's probably in therapy now.
I vaguely remember watching how worms mate back in biology in like 7th grade. I don't want to see it.
HJZ Grok says, I think they were yanking our chain on the romances, possibly. Just like Jabba yanked the chain on...
Possible.
Oh, no. Come on.
They could have been, teasing... Because that they read the reviews, what people want. They've got people that are trolling the fan pages and things like that. And if you don't do that, you're stupid, in my opinion. But my biggest thing is just don't do it just to check a box. Do it because the story takes you there. Do it because it's natural. Don't force it because that's just going to ruin the movie.
Here's the problem, though. Some of this stuff may have been set up and was going natural and may have been set up from the beginning, but then Rian Johnson just kind of threw a wrench in everything, and now they're trying to... Because that was the other... you
got to build it back up, and it may not work as well as it had intended had JJ been at the helm the whole time.
Yeah, and that was the other interesting thing that was brought up was even like Carrie Fisher. Big point of interest is like, how are you going to handle Carrie Fisher? Post-mortem... Are we going to get CG Carrie Fisher and all this stuff? JJ said never any thought, never any plan of CG Carrie Fisher, so thank God for that. But where they pulled footage from for this, where they said it's really Carrie, it's scenes that she's acting in, they worked the story so it worked with what she was doing. They didn't even pull it from episode 8. It was all pulled from 7. It was Force Awakens. He said there was a ton of footage that they still had from Force Awakens that they were able to it can still kind of embody what JJ was trying to set up originally with all this. So I thought it was, that was kind of an interesting note that's like where all her footage comes from is from 7, because he even brings up the scenes that she has with her daughter, her real life daughter, who was in 7. So,
So Rian Johnson tried to, take a baseball bat to their car windshield, and JJ's like, I got another car windshield right here, dude. We're good.
Yeah, seriously, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
speaking
of we're good. We're an hour into this cast, and that means
now we can trim out all the garbage at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So
one last point to before we move on. HJ Grok makes a good point. The problem with selling these romances is Finn is just not the romantic lead, as you pointed out. Poe is the romantic lead, the good-looking, dashing superhero.
Well, and let's be clear, John Boyega could be a romantic lead, no problem.
I think they were, but here's the thing. That's the thing is watch the first film. Go back and watch Force Awakens again, and see who is the one that is looking more like leading towards being a romantic lead. It feels like Finn.
It does feel like Finn and Rey are going to.
Poe feels like it
felt like it in the first one, but not the second. Definitely not.
That was Rian Johnson getting involved again, and so
Rian Johnson just needs to not be involved.
He's not. JJ's back, and I wish JJ did all 3. But
in the original trilogy, the worst directed stuff was by Lucas, and now The worst stuff.
It may have, but yeah, but in the second one, definitely, like, Finn was just a goober. I'm not gonna lie, he was a goober. There was nothing romantic about him at all.
I know, but that was where I think that's where it felt like was because yeah, he was a goober, but it was like he was that boy that you could kind of see falling, like the farm boy. He was the and so
Yeah.
it yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Well, and in the second one, let's be honest, that whole Finn and Rose storyline had no actual purpose. Nothing resulted.
Plus, the only characters you really had were Poe, Finn, and Rey, and it felt like just a little bit too old of Poe for Rey. So like, the age gap feels a little weird. So
yeah,
which I have no problem with ageism. I mean, I have a problem with ageism, but I have no problem with like different ages.
The societally accepted rule is half your age plus 7.
Yeah.
After like 20.
So yeah.
After 21. 22.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, that's it. That's it. This is the cast. If you guys want to check us out elsewhere, if you want to listen to us, anywhere that you are listening to this, if you're not listening to elsewhere, head over to Spotify, head over to Stitcher, head over to iTunes. Anywhere that you can find a podcast, we're generally there. So please go check it out. All Things Nerd. Make sure you subscribe over at those other ones that you listen to them on your car drive and your commutes and stuff like that. If you don't want to just be here live, or if you want to watch the actual edited down, pre-recorded version, you can head over to youtube.com/c/Malice Corp. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. You drop a comment letting us know what your thoughts were on what happened in the cast. And as always, head over to the main site that hosts all this, malice-corp.com, and check out the other podcasts that go on, not just All Things Nerd. There's so many great podcasts from other nerds and geek enthusiasts and nerd aficionados that do different things. So with that...
Click on the Amazon tab.
Yeah, while you're on at malice-corp.com, click on the Amazon tab if you want to help us out, because that website's not free. Or if you want to help us out and you're watching here and you don't want to spend anything at Amazon, click on the subscribe button above, and if you have Twitch Prime, it's free to you to subscribe to the channel, and you help us out. Thank you so much for that. Let's talk about where you can follow everybody, and if you have a hashtag of the week, go ahead and drop that. Super. Where can people follow you outside of this cast?
You can follow me on Twitter at SuperHoovianNut, and then you can follow me on Instagram at SuperHoovianFreak.
And what about
for
you,
me,
Icy?
it's at Icy Zora on Twitter, Instagram, and PlayStation Network. I do not have a hashtag for the week. I mean, I guess I'll reuse an old one. Read this book. At me and send me good stuff to read. I'm going to be done with Dune soon.
Awesome. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at @mest_Malice Corp, or on Instagram at mess5150. Follow this cast on Twitter at All Nerd Podcast. Follow everything that we have going on at either Discord, look up Malice Corp. We have a server for that. Or you can head over to Facebook.com/groups/All Things Nerd Podcast. Drop any interesting things, memes, whatever you want to talk about over there. We're always talking all the time on Facebook. And yeah, my hashtag of the week is Black Hole Spaghettified. So from Red Meatball.
Black hole spaghettified.
Tell us what is on the other side of the black hole
Can you
of
the
Powehi.
song?
Yeah.
Which one?
No, this is where you edit in as much. This is where you edit in as much of Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun as you can. While
I was thinking some Muse Supermassive
use.
Black Hole. So, yeah. So Polyfuse's hashtag is Finn is a bitch.
It'd be even better if it had the ellipsis than the pause in there. He's a he's a bitch.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. You keep nerding on, and we will see you next Friday, hopefully with a better production.